Subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Click the bell button and enjoy the latest uploads from our channel.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। लाखों करोड़ों दरूद नबी अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम पर और उनकी आल पर। ख़वाज़रात, ईरान और पाकिस्तान सिर्फ दो हमसाये नहीं हैं, बल्कि ये दोनों एक दूसरे के भाई भी हैं। ईरान 1947 में पाकिस्तान को तस्लीम करने वाला पहला मुल्क था। हमारे ईरान के साथ बेशुमार लिसानी, सकाफती, माशरती और मजहबी तल्लुकात भी हैं, लेकिन दरमियान में बेशुमार गलत फहमियां और इख्तलाफात भी हैं। मसलन ईरान का ख्याल है कि ईरानी गार्ड्स पर पाकिस्तानी इलाकों से हमले होते हैं। इधर से हम भी एतराज करते हैं कि तालिबान लीडर मुल्ला मंसूर ईरान क्यों जाते रहे, चाबहार में रा के जासूस क्यों हैं, और कुलभूषण यादव 10 साल ईरान में क्यों रहा, वो वहां बैठकर पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ कार्रवाइयां क्यों करता रहा, पाकिस्तान से नौजवानों को भर्ती करके ईरान में ट्रेनिंग देकर शाम और इराक में क्यों भिजवाया जाता है, और ईरान इंडिया के इतने करीब क्यों है, वगैरह वगैरह। अमेरिका इस वक्त ईरान और पाकिस्तान दोनों मुल्कों पर दबाव डालने की कोशिश भी कर रहा है, और अमेरिका ईरान की न्यूक्लियर डील भी मनसूख करवाना चाहता है। ईरान के पाकिस्तान पर क्या एतराजात हैं, ईरान के पास हमारे एतराजात के क्या जवाब हैं, अगर पाकिस्तान पर कोई मुश्किल वक्त आया तो ईरान का रद्द-ए-अमल क्या होगा, और अगर अमेरिका ने ईरान की न्यूक्लियर डील मनसूख करवा दी तो ईरान क्या करेगा। हम आज ये सारे सवाल पाकिस्तान में ईरानी सफीर मेहदी हुनर दोस्त के सामने रखेंगे। ये हमारे साथ तशरीफ रखते हैं। एक्सीलेंसी, अमेरिका की पूरी कोशिश है कि वो ईरान के ऊपर चढ़ाई कर दे, तो आप लड़ने के लिए तैयार?
You know, after revolution, we have been in a strained relation with America for decades, and so something that I can elaborate here. In 4 decades, we suffered, and we had bully approach by American against Iran, and because of this arrogant power in the world, and so we know very well that how can we approach, how should we, how can we approach and deal with this matter. It is not the first, and also it is not the last. And the resilient Iranian shows to the world that they never obey their head to any power in the world, and American too.
But right now, you know, Americans are pushing Iran and Pakistan both. So, and are you ready to fight with America if he has any type of invasion?
We never think that America is ready for fight, because they have a lot of problems, and in any countries that incur to war, they have a lot of consequences. And so maybe if you mean that Mr. Trump's words against Iran and Pakistan, some part of them is show off, and so we don't believe that the American desire to the new war in the region. They have a lot and back down in the region.
एक्सीलेंसी, ये बताइएगा कि अगर आप पे मुश्किल वक्त आए ईरान पे, तो आप ये समझते हैं कि पाकिस्तान ईरान के साथ खड़ा होगा, और अगर फर्ज कीजिए कि पाकिस्तान के ऊपर कोई मुश्किल वक्त आ जाता है तो ईरान पाकिस्तान के साथ खड़ा होगा, लड़ेगा पाकिस्तान के साथ मिलकर?
If you look to the history, in any hard time or any hard time period, the both country is standing behind themselves. Yes. And so, according to a lot of commonalities and common concerns that the two have, the countries they have, and also we believe that that really the Pakistan as a neighboring and very important and one of the most important member of the Islamic families, we attach importance for this relation. And as you look, you can look to the recent Iranian Foreign Ministry position regarding to new administration of American statements against Pakistan. We said totally we are with our brothers here.
आप ट्रंप से मुतमईन है, प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप से मुतमईन है? आप ये महसूस नहीं कर रहे कि वो एक नई जंग छेड़ना चाहते हैं इस रीजन में, और ईरान के ऊपर भी वो दबाव डाल रहे हैं और पाकिस्तान के ऊपर भी साथ ही दबाव डाल रहे हैं, और साथ उनका सऊदी अरेबिया के साथ और साथ उनका इराक के साथ बड़े क्लोज रिलेशंस डेवलप हो रहे हैं, नई थ्रेट्स भी आ रही हैं ईरान को। तो आप महसूस नहीं करते कि ट्रंप जो है वो आपके लिए खतरा साबित हो सकता है और आप कंफर्टेबल हैं उनके साथ?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because you should look before your answer to this question. You should consider all of the aspects of the matter. It's not so easy for the new starting the new war. You know, the starting of the war maybe is so easy, but the putting end to that is so difficult. And I believe that according to the facts, the American, they don't want to come to the new stage of war and conflicts with big countries in the region like as Iran and Pakistan.
लेकिन अगर इम्पोज कर दी गई, क्योंकि अमेरिका को एक नई जंग चाहिए, वो पुरानी जंगें जो उनसे वो थक चुका है, अफगानिस्तान के अंदर वो उनका प्लान फेल हो चुका है, इराक के अंदर उनका प्लान फेल हो चुका है, सीरिया के अंदर उनका प्लान फेल हो चुका है, तो वो एक नई जंग चाहते हैं, और अगर जंग इम्पोज कर दी गई तो फिर?
I believe that it has two parts of this question. They are contradictory to each other. As you said, they are bogged down in the region because of this chaotic situation. Any countries that they comes for the peace and tranquility, you received nothing. Afghanistan, Iraq, and so we believe that the American, they try to put more pressure, but not for coming in the new direct war.
आप क्या महसूस करते हैं कि ईरान आइसोलेशन का शिकार नहीं है इस वक्त, क्योंकि पूरा यूरोप आपके खिलाफ, अमेरिका आपके खिलाफ, अमेरिका के तमाम अलाइज आपके खिलाफ, इराक आपके खिलाफ, उसके साथ साथ सीरिया के अंदर आपके लिए प्रॉब्लम, सऊदी अरेबिया जो वो ओपन आपका दुश्मन है इस वक्त मुकम्मल तौर पे, अफगानिस्तान के साथ आपके कन्फ्लिक्ट हैं, पाकिस्तान और ईरान के भी बहुत आइडियल रिलेशन नहीं, तो आप महसूस नहीं करते कि आप आइसोलेशन का शिकार हैं और इस आइसोलेशन में इजाफा होता जा रहा है?
Never. It isn't the first time that we received some approaches by some countries that they are in the American wings, and Iran, based on the cohesive and powerful people and the democracy in the country, and very strong relation between leadership and also the people, and also with all of the capabilities that we have, and something that we many times we announced, that we said to the big powers that the regional countries, they never needs and never invite to you for coming and interference in the region. And so we believe that Iran, especially as a big countries, strong countries, we are self-efficient in everything. And from other side, that we should...
Even in nuclear?
Of course, according to our Supreme Leader Fatwa, we said that it is not, Iran is not in the direction for having the nuclear bomb. And our Supreme Leader said that Iran never desired, not past, not present, not future. And we believe that we have a lot of capabilities, that priorities. And so you can consider that in which country the atomic bomb could solve the issue and the problem for the holders. And something about the isolation that you said, right now Iran enjoys many billions bilateral trade with many big countries in the world, and so exactly received the position and the stance of the European countries, and also the consensus of the world against the Americans' stance regarding to the 5+1 agreement. And so if you mean that this victory of the world against the Americans is the isolation, I don't know.
ओके ये बताइएगा कि पाकिस्तान और ईरान के रिलेशंस को क्या समझते हैं आप? ये समझते हैं कि रिलेशंस में इजाफा हो रहा है, रिलेशन में कमी आ रही है, या कुछ सर्द महरी है दरमियान में? इस रिलेशन को कहाँ रखते हैं आप?
Iran and Pakistan, according to the wills and desire of the leaders of the two countries. Alhamdulillah, the both countries, they have very good look into each other, and we believe that two countries, they are complements to each other. And fortunately, if you look to the recent achievements in the relation, in all of the sides of the relation between two countries, you received the answer of this question that fortunately our relation is promoted, and so the future is so clear than the past. And we have a lot of facts that our achievements in last 2 years is very good. And I'm sure, of course, we have a lot of works for doing, and for under the interaction among the friends and peoples. And inshallah, you receive a good news for the next future.
लेकिन एक ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट दोनों मुल्कों के दरमियान है, ईरान और पाकिस्तान के दरमियान, क्योंकि आपके आर्मी चीफ ने एक बार ये भी कहा था कि हमें सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक भी करनी पड़ी तो हम पाकिस्तान के अंदर भी सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक कर सकते हैं जहां हमारे दुश्मन छुपे हुए हैं। इसके अलावा पाकिस्तान को एतराज़ात हैं चाबहार पे, रॉ की वहां पे मौजूदगी पे, गुलभूषण यादव का वहां से निकल आना, ये, और इसके अलावा मुल्ला मंसूर का ईरान चले जाना और ईरान से वापसी पे उसको ड्रोन हमले में मारा जाना। तो यूं महसूस होता है कि ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट दोनों मुल्कों के दरमियान मौजूद है। आपकी तरफ से भी समझा जाता है कि यहां से कोई इन्वेजन हो रही है और आप भी सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक के बारे में सोचते रहते हैं, और पाकिस्तान भी हमेशा ब्लेम करता रहता है कि वहां पर रॉ बैठी।
Very good question. Of course, many times I answer to this question.
That's why it's a very good question.
Yes. You know, the first, Iran and Pakistan, they have a line border. And so control over this line border is not so easy. They both should try better and faster than the past, because the Iran and Pakistan, they both has vulnerable points from the terrorist groups. The both countries, they are victim of the terrorism. And so the both countries, they are exposed to this heinous phenomenon. And definitely the Iranian authorities many times emphasize about that the Pakistanians is better to come more active than the past for co-control, for mutual control over this border. You know, the border of the Iran and Pakistan is the border of the friendship. And so we should not leave our interest to the mercy of the fate. Iran and Pakistan, the two young countries, the most part of our population is under the 30 years old. The both countries, they are exposed to the drug trafficking and also human trafficking in the region. We should control better, and we should open our eyes totally through our borders, because
इससे तो आपको करीब आना पड़ेगा एक दूसरे के साथ। जब ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट होगा तो फिर इस किस्म की कंफ्यूजन तो रहेगी।
Why Iran should release our territory to any countries in the world against Pakistan? Pakistan is a Muslim country. Pakistan is our neighboring country. Pakistan, in the history, the both sides announced and showed.
यादेव वो कैसे आ गया पाकिस्तान वहां से? वो चाबहार में रहा, एविडेंस है कि 10 साल वो वहां पे रहा, और उसके बाद उसने आगे पाकिस्तान के अंदर बहुत टेररिस्ट अटैक्स किए, फिर वो पाकिस्तान की टेरिटरी से गिरफ्तार हुआ। इसी तरह मुल्ला मंसूर ईरान क्यों जाते रहे? वो ईरान गया और ईरान से वापसी पे ड्रोन हमले में मारा गया। तो ये हमारे पास तो वो बेशुमार एविडेंस है। उज़ैर बलोच यहाँ से गया, वो पाकिस्तान के लिए टेररिस्ट था, मतलूब था। तो ये सारे लोग ईरान क्यों चले जाते हैं और ईरान से पाकिस्तान के अंदर आके हमला क्यों करते हैं? लेकिन मैं उससे पहले एक छोटी सी ब्रेक लूंगा। ब्रेक के बाद आप साथ प्रोग्राम में दोबारा खुश आमदीद। मुल्ला मंसूर वहां से आके मारा गया क्यों? गुलभूषण यादव वहां से पाकिस्तान क्यों आया, वहां पे क्यों था? उज़ैर बलोच यहां से बलोचिस्तान क्यों गया, बलोचिस्तान से वहां क्यों गया ईरान?
There is no rift, there is no gap between two countries. You know, after the sanction, Iran opened their doors to the cooperation and interaction with the business body of the world, because we suffered a lot of pain regarding to the sanction. It is definitely clear that we paid the cost of our independence, and don't obey to the big powers. And so we announced that the doors are open. And if anybody with, for example, with the wrong and fake information comes as a businessman, according to the claim by some brothers in Pakistan, if something that we look at the problem, and the issue is that the one merchant is active in business. Sometimes we received some colored version of the fact and false news that the Iran looks to Gwadar as a rival of Chabahar. How can we try to increase our power line and electricity export to Gwadar more and more, and from another side Gwadar is our rival?
गवादर से आपको कोई इशू नहीं, ईरान को कोई इशू नहीं है, लेकिन इंडिया को इशू है, क्योंकि वो नहीं चाहता कि गवादर में एक वो पोर्ट बन सके, सी पैक वो पे हो। इंडिया और पाकिस्तान के रिलेशंस आपके सामने हैं, और वहां पे अगर कॉन्सुलेट होगा इंडिया का, और वहां पे गुलभूषण यादव उस कॉन्सुलेट का हिस्सा होगा, 10 साल अगर वो वहां पे रहेगा और ईरानी जो हमारे भाई हैं उनको नहीं पता चलेगा कि ये क्या कर रहा है और क्यों है यहाँ पे, तो उसके बाद बहुत से सवाल उठते हैं। लोग ये समझते हैं, पाकिस्तानी ये समझते हैं कि शायद ईरान की सरजमीन को पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है और इंडिया इस्तेमाल कर रहा है।
Be sure about it. Iran never allowed to any countries in the world,
including India,
any countries in the world, for misuse the legal advantages that we offered, especially in our free trade areas, to all of the countries in the world, because we, economic and business right now is the top priority of our government, and so the better cooperation in business in the region with all of the countries, especially, for example, with India that you said. India is also one of our partner, but something, please, you look at it. Business is the business, and so but the Iranian looking to the region never preferred any countries to Pakistan.
राह का कोई सेंटर ईरान के अंदर है या चाबहार के अंदर है?
Never. Never. Right now is very good connectivity and relation and contact between the high authorities of the two countries. You can look to the trips, you can look to the connections, you can look to the new programs for the better cooperation, and so it means that the reality is something else, and the rumors and the feeding and flaring up by some third parties is something else.
Okay, एक्सेलेंसी ये फरमाइएगा कि मुल्ला मंसूर बाकायदा वीजा लेकर गया था वहां पे, ये बगैर वीजे के गया था ईरान?
You know, if I want to answer to this question, maybe it needs to some details, and before that you should look to some other information. Visa is not exactly the reason for somebody that who stayed in one country or not. It is better you look to their passport. Who gave to Mullah Mansoor passport?
लेकिन वो पासपोर्ट का इशू हो सकता है, वो हम यहाँ पे सवाल उठा रहे हैं, पाकिस्तान के अंदर बार बार सवाल उठा रहे हैं, लेकिन ईरान एक दूसरा ब्रादर मुल्क, और जिसको थोड़ा सा शक भी है कि यहाँ पे एक ऐसे लोग भी पाकिस्तान में हो सकते हैं जिनसे ईरान को खतरा हो, उनको एम्बेसी प्रॉपर वीजे दे रही है, और वीजा देने के बाद वो वहां पे जा रहे हैं, वहां पे जाकर रह रहे हैं, रहने के बाद वो पाकिस्तान वापस आते हैं, यहाँ पे हिट हो जाते हैं। तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि आपकी इंफॉर्मेशन इतनी वीक थी, आपका सिस्टम इतना कमजोर था कि आपने तालिबान के लीडर को वीजा जारी कर दिया।
Any consulate office, any embassies in the world, the first before look to the information of the owner of the passport. You look to the passport. If the passport is the original passport, you can never think that maybe the information is fake. And so it needs to some technical question and answer that is out of the capacity of the.
लेकिन एक्चुअली उसमें कोई इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं थी, मुल्ला मंसूर का कोई बैंक अकाउंट नहीं था कि उसने आपको कोई स्टेटमेंट दे दी हो, उसका कोई एड्रेस प्रॉपर नहीं था कि जिसकी बुनियाद पे आपने वीजा जारी कर दिया हो। तो इसमें बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी हैं जिसके ऊपर सवालिया निशान लगता है, लेकिन मैं बार बार ये क्वेश्चन करके आपको एम्बेरस नहीं करूंगा। इससे पहले छोटी सी ब्रेक लूंगा, ब्रेक के बाद वापस आते हैं। प्रोग्राम में दोबारा खुशामदीद। एक्सीलेंसी, आप इस्लामी फौज का हिस्सा क्यों नहीं बन रहे? ईरान क्यों नहीं बन रहा? कोई रिजर्वेशंस है आपको?
You mean that coalition?
Yeah, coalition.
It's not
Military
coalition of the peace. If this coalition is against terror and against the terrorist groups and terrorist countries, why the three countries that they are victim of the terrorism is not the member of this coalition? And so the other side, from the first day of this coalition, we announced very clear and very apparently and very frankly our position regarding to this matter too, and we said our position to our brothers in Pakistan that we don't believe that this coalition can be, can be able to against the terrorism. You can look to the consequences and the result. I have a question to the free world and all of the public opinion in the world, that it is why you can justify the attack of some countries to Yemen. How can the Yemeni poor people should be under the attack by some peoples, some countries? You don't believe that the coalition may be as a playing and as a slope for some countries that they want to drag on and push them to the new crisis. Coalition, for example, anybody knows that all of the terrorists from the world right now they are fighting in Syria against the legal government of that country, and nobody asked that which countries in the world they gave the facilities and logistic and financial support for all of the terrorists that they come to region, and why the coalition is not active regarding to this heinous and disastrous events that we have regarding to the Islamic countries. Something that we believe and we ask to our brothers in Pakistan, that the Pakistan wise leaders, they took very good stance regarding to the Yemen crisis, that they never sent the troops there. And that was very wise decision, and we appreciate for this.
आप ये समझते हैं कि आपको खतरा है और ये जो कोalition बन रही है ये ईरान के खिलाफ बन रही है?
I never told this matter because I believe that Iran is more stronger than any coalition would like to have any be danger to Iran. But something that we are so sorry about it. You please look at to the goals and the targets of this coalition. What was the result? Please show me one tangible result of this coalition, please. Because we believe that any cooperation in the Islamic countries, especially among all of the countries in the third world countries, and especially in the region, and especially in the Islamic countries, and big ones as Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Iran, that many times we announced that it is better all of these members, they set aside the excuses and they come together more and more because we have a lot of works for doing. And so we believe that it's not directly against us, and also it's not benefit to the solving of the terrorism phenomenon in the region.
तो पाकिस्तान जो है उसका रोल बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है इसमें। हमारे आर्मी चीफ, फार्मर आर्मी चीफ जो है वो उसका हिस्सा हैं, वो लीड कर रहे हैं उस फोर्स को। तो आप पाकिस्तान के किरदार से भी मुतमईन नहीं? आपका ख्याल ये है कि हमें अपना साबिक आर्मी चीफ नहीं देना चाहिए तो कोalition को?
We never, according to the coexistence between Iran and Pakistan, we never interfere in the internal affair for any countries, especially a neighboring country of Pakistan. But we announced very clearly our position and stance regarding to the coalition and the Pakistani presence in that coalition, and we announced to the relevant department and authorities of Pakistan our position. And it is better for finding the solution, and it is better you finding the answer of this question. Please look to the result of the Riyadh summit. What did you receive? It is the answer of your question, my brother.
Okay. ये फरमाइएगा कि अब एक नया जो फिनोमेना डेवलप हुआ है, रेक्स टिलरसन गए सऊदी अरेबिया और उसके बाद इराक, उनके प्राइम मिनिस्टर, और उन्होंने ईरान से कहा कि आप अपने मलेशियाज जो हैं वो इराक से निकालें, और उसके बाद सीरिया से भी कहा जा रहा है कि आपको वहां से अपने मलेशियाज निकालें। तो आप समझ नहीं है कि आप इंटरफेयर कर रहे हैं दूसरे ममालिक में और आपको अपने मलेशियाज निकालने चाहिए इराक से और उसके साथ साथ शाम से भी?
would you please somebody in the world, and especially you can ask to the American and any countries that they are opposed to the presence of some persons from the Iranian militaries in those countries. Please ask them who is responsible of this huge support to the terrorists from the world for sending them to Syria. It is very good. It is a very good question, and thank you to you that you asked me about the Iranian presence in Syria and never asked to all of the countries that they have mercenaries in that country. Nobody asked that why this coalition in Syria among the terrorist groups by support of some countries. You know, the terrorism as a human body needs two parents, and the parents of the terrorism is the illiteracy and poverty, and the heart of this heart of this body is the financial support. There are a lot of questions that you can look at it. There are a lot of questions that you can ask.
इराक से आप अपने मलेशिया को वापस नहीं बुलाएंगे, आपका ख्याल ये कि वो वहां पर रहेंगे और ईरान इसके लिए हर किस्म की कुर्बानी देने के लिए तैयार है, वो अमेरिकन हो, सऊदीज हो, इराकीज हो, वो कितना ही आपको पुश क्यों ना कर लें?
No, because it is under the agreement and request of the legal government of Iraq as a neighboring country of mine. If Iran gave some supports in some countries that they are involved to war against terrorism, it is based on exactly the request of the legal government and central government.
उनकी लीगल गवर्नमेंट अब ये वापस ले लेती है, क्योंकि अब उसके प्राइम मिनिस्टर, इराकी प्राइम मिनिस्टर जो है वो इस नई मीटिंग का हिस्सा है जिसमें किंग सुलेमान, इराकी प्राइम मिनिस्टर और टिलरसन, ये तीनों, इनका मुश्तरका ये फैसला है कि ईरान को निकलना चाहिए वहां से, और अगर इराक की गवर्नमेंट विड्रॉ कर लेती है अपनी जो रिक्वेस्ट है तो फिर ईरान का क्या ऑप्शन होगा, ईरान के पास क्या ऑप्शन होगा?
Of course, the answer to this question is out of my territory and it is out of my power, and it is better under this under this condition. It's better you can go and look to the Iranian government. They said, yes.
Okay. Break लेंगे, short break और break out आप सारे. प्रोग्राम में दोबारा खुश आमदीद। एक्सीलेंसी ये फरमाइएगा कि एक इंफॉर्मेशन है, कुछ लोगों का ये कहना है कि पाकिस्तान की टेरिटरी से लोगों को यहाँ से भर्ती किया जाता है, भर्ती करने के बाद ईरान ले जाया जाता है, वहाँ पर कोई ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है और उनके बाद उन लोगों को सीरिया भिजवा दिया जाता है, इराक भिजवा दिया जाता है। तो ये किस हद तक दुरुस्त है कि पाकिस्तानी नौजवान उनको ईरान में भर्ती करके उनको ट्रेनिंग दे के सीरिया और इराक भेजा जा रहा है जंग के लिए?
It is better for finding the answer of this question. Please look to the nationalities for all of the mercenaries that they are in Syria against the legal government of that country. It is better, my brother, that you look at the nationalities from how many countries they are active against one legal government of Syria, that they came to power by the election of that country. And sometimes really I became surprised that they asked this question, but nobody asked me how many countries, more than 25 countries, they are active in Syria against the Bashar Assad's administration, you know, the one legal government. But they asked from some persons from Pakistan or Afghanistan or somewhere else that they are voluntarily, they want to go because of their belief, they want to go there. But why you don't ask about the majorities?
अगर वो जाना चाह रहे हैं तो आप अनाउंस करें, डिक्लेयर करें कि ये पाकिस्तान के ये नौजवान हैं, ये सीरिया में जंग लड़ना चाहते हैं, हम इनको फैसिलिटेट करना चाहते हैं। खुफिया क्यों रखा जा रहा है सारे सिलसिले को?
Definitely it is voluntary. Definitely. How can Iran impose? If we couldn't, there are a lot of conflicts zoning the world. How can it is definitely voluntarily and nobody can impose their wills to the Pakistani peoples.
नहीं, वो ठीक है, वो जा रहे होंगे रजाकाराना, लेकिन उनकी फंडिंग कहां से हो रही है, उनको ट्रेनिंग कहां से दी जा रही है, उनको असलहा कहां से दिया जा रहा है, उनको कागजात कहां से बना के दिए जा रहे हैं, उनको रास्ता कहां से दिया जा रहा है? ये तो सवाल है एक्सीलेंसी, पूछेंगे तो सही लोग आपसे।
Some part of the youngsters, maybe they would like to support the poor people of the Palestinian, poor people of the Syrian, poor people of the some other countries that they are under the shadow, dark shadow of the support of some countries that they are the main responsible of these heinous deeds. Something that we should look at it for finding the answer of this question. That the first, is there anybody from Pakistan or Iran in the battlefield of the Syria? Be sure about that, it is voluntary and optional. It is not mandatory. The true face of the matter is that the one government in the world is one country, it means Syria. Because they are the main obstacle for the American and the Israeli in the region should be toppled. And so some mercenaries from the world, they collected. Okay, they have any wing for flying for going there? How can they go to the Syrian border? How can they have presence there with exactly logistics facilitated by some countries that they are aligned with the American and some other countries.
सवाल ये है कि फर्ज कर लेंगे पाकिस्तान के कुछ लोग 1000 हो, 2000 हो, 10,000 हो, वो सीरिया में जाकर लड़ना चाहते हैं, तो ईरान उनको फैसिलिटेट कर देगा, हर किस्म की फैसिलिटी ईरान को उनको देगा, उनको ट्रेनिंग देगा, कागजात देगा, रास्ता देगा, उनको रकम देगा, उनको असला देगा कि जाएं जाके लड़ें.
We haven't mandate like for this. Some part of the reality that I can emphasize about it is that Iran cannot never put a stop for any person that who want to be there. As the terrorist countries, they give facilities to the terrorists for going there.
ओके, आखिरी सवाल आपसे ये फरमाइएगा कि अगर आपके न्यूक्लियर प्लांट पे, न्यूक्लियर प्रोग्राम पे पाबंदियां लग जाती है जैसे अमेरिकन लगाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, तो आप उस पाबंदी को कबूल कर लेंगे या फिर आप अपना सिलसिला जारी रखेंगे?
According to the 5+1 agreement, Iran accept that set aside the enrichment of the uranium more than 20%. But Iran has potential for this. But according to the agreement, according to the wills and desire and our supreme leader and some other part of our governments, we announced that we are ready to set aside our programs for the enrichment over the 20%, but they should remove the sanctions. And according to the stance of the Iranian government, if we received any obstacles for the result of the 5+1 agreement, it means that the exactly violation from this agreement, and Iran knows better that what we should take decision regarding.
Okay, आप फिर उसके बाद एटम बम भी बना सकते हैं अगर आपको रोका गया तो.
But it is against our supreme leader's fatwa. But something that the American, they are opposed. Be sure about it, the American is not opposed. And it is the merely excused by the American. Something the American, they are against this, is that the capability for all of the Islamic countries. This, my brother, Iran never looked to the atomic bomb as a power. You can look how many countries they have atomic bomb. How can they solve the problem under this capability? If the American violates from this, in spite of that the 5+1 is the multilateral agreement, not bilateral, and the American, according to the international regulation, they are not able to violate this. And something that is good news is that, alhamdulillah, the world knows very well that according to the 10 years negotiation for reaching to this agreement and showing to the world that the dialogue and diplomatic dialogue is the best solution for finding for any dilemma.
थैंक यू वेरी मच एक्सीलेंसी. ख़वातीन रात आपने गुफ्तगू सुनी, फैसला आप खुद कर लीजिएगा. अल्लाह ताला आप और आपके अहले खाना को हर किसी मुसीबत से महफूज रखे. अल्लाह हाफिज़.